Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again and welcome to another video here at Beau-Blue Lacquer. In today's video, we are going over part 2 of my summer rack for 2023. This time we are focusing on the polishes that I've picked from my Orly collection. I have them in rainbow-ish order and I also have them swatched. Also, this is a collaboration, so make sure to check out the list down below for all of the other participants and their channels. So let's go ahead and jump in. I have 16 Orlys to share with you, and the first one is actually a red, which will surprise some of my regulars. This one is actually in their breathable line and it is called Love My Nails. This one I actually did not purchase myself. It came to me as a freebie in one of those subscription boxes. It could have been FabFitFun or something else along those lines. I don't remember. It was a few years ago, and this definitely was not one that I was excited to get. As you may know, reds are not my favorite, but I held on to it for one reason or another. I think it might be because this is kind of a pinky cherry red, and I was thinking I might eventually one day try it out, and here we are. It's on my summer rack. So here is that one in 2 coats. This one has a really nice formula, a little bit on the squishy side in 1 coat, but I think most people would be fine in 2 coats with this on your nails. But as you can see where that light's coming in there at the tip, it is still a squishy formula, as I think is kind of common for a lot of reds, but really nice color there. As a red, I hope it's coming through color accurate. Like I mentioned, it has that sort of a cherry red to it, not a totally straight up primary red. So that was Love My Nails. Now we're moving into our oranges. Do you see how many oranges I have? Oranges into our yellow oranges. The first one is a shimmer polish called Ablaze, and I actually don't remember where I got this one. Again, when I got it, it was definitely outside my comfort zone as far as how bright this is. I don't know if it's going to be washing it out at all on your screen, but this is a very vibrant, almost coral leaning neon orange. This is very, very vibrant, and it has these larger particles of gold in there in a micro flaky. And here it is in 3 coats. I did need to come back for that 3rd coat to sort of even things out. I was seeing a bit of patchiness, and even on the 3rd, to be honest, right around here, I'm seeing a bit of patchiness as well. So I would definitely say when I'm wearing this, I'm going to have to be a bit careful with how I apply it, and maybe even wear it over a solid orange cream. On this one, I do like how prominent those gold flakies are. You can see them quite nicely on. So that one was Ablaze. Now we're moving on to a coral, and this one is called Artificial Orange. We actually have quite a lot from this collection, which was the summer 2021 collection, which was Electric Escape. This still holds up as one of my favorite collections ever from Orly, which is really saying something considering summer colors and brights and especially neons are not what I would identify as my go-to colors by any stretch of the imagination, and yet I somehow loved that collection. Here's just a quick little overview of those colors. Just, yeah, not ones I would really have said, oh yeah, absolutely it's going to be my favorite, but there's a lot of them from that collection in my summer rack, and this is the first one. So this one is a neon coral shade, kind of leaning towards a salmon. And here it is in 2 coats. This one was nice and opaque for me in those 2 coats. I think most people would be just fine with 2 coats for full opacity. This is just one of those colors that is so very flattering on. It's the kind of color that gives you a tan even if you don't have one, because it is just that vibrant and bright. So that one was Artificial Orange. Next up is our darkest orange, and this is actually from their fall 2021 collection, but as I was pulling colors from Orly, I thought this would look nice in the summer rack. I will say once I swatched it, it is a bit darker than I would probably prefer. It's definitely a sweet potato, like mashed sweet potato or squash color, but I still think it might be a nice option to have compared to a lot of the other brighter oranges that I have, and this one is called Lion's Ear. And this one is definitely a squishier formula than the cream finishes. This is another one where I did need 3 coats to reach mostly opaque. In fact, I would go as far as saying that some people might still see a bit of visible nail line because this is that squishy, but it is a really beautiful color. And as you can see on the nail, it isn't a super dark fall shade. So we'll see if I enjoy having this as an option on my summer rack. And that one was Lion's Ear. Next up is a lighter orange, and this one is called Tangerine Dream. And this is another one that came out in the Electric Escape collection for summer 2021. And this is a beautiful shade. It is even more vibrant than, say, an electric orange dreamsicle sort of a color. It is super vibrant, very punchy. Here it is in 2 coats. As you can see, I mean, that is very intensely vibrant. This is probably one of the first collections that had colors verging on neons. And yeah, just something about them I really, really enjoyed. This is another one where I felt that most people would be fine with just 2 coats for full opacity. So that one was Tangerine Dream. And next up is our last orange, and this one is another yellow leaning orange, and this one is called Summer Sunset. This is actually from quite a few years ago. I found this on a D-stash, and this is another one where we have a beautiful micro flaky in here. This also has a little bit of a shimmer behind those flakies, and that is coming across as a pink or even a red. I think you can kind of see it over here at the edge of the bottle, but just barely. This is another one where I did need 3 coats to reach what I would say again is mostly opaque. This one also had kind of an uneven formula where I did still see a little bit of unevenness on that 3rd coat. Now again, this one and Ablaze I think are older polishes. They also have the older brush, which by comparison to the newer Orlys is not very fun to deal with, but it's a beautiful, beautiful color. I really like how this looks. This one kind of reminds me of almost like an electric mac and cheese color, and I love the shimmer in here. You really do see both on the nail. I'm seeing those flecks of the micro flakies in that gold, and then the glow from that red adds a really nice blush to this. So that one was Summer Sunset. Now moving into our greens, I've got 4 of them. This first one is Neon Paradise. This is another one from that summer 2021 collection, and this is the lighter green. This is it in 2 coats. Now this one also had kind of a squishy formula, but I felt like it was still okay in 2 coats. As you can see there at the edge though, you will get a little bit of visible nail line if you have a super prominent nail line. So it just sort of depends on your application and nail length. But look again, another vibrant color for summer. I probably should stop saying that because most of these are pretty vibrant shades for summer, obviously. But yeah, such a nice green there. So that one was Neon Paradise. Next up is the darker green, also from that summer 2021 collection, and this one is Plastic Jungle. This green definitely caught me by surprise because normally I like the bluer tones of green. This is definitely pretty close to a standard Crayola green, but there's 2 things that sort of differentiate it. It is brighter, it is close to a neon dark green, if there is such a thing, and it's got a pinch of a blue lean, which on my phone as I'm filming is what's picking up. It's actually showing up on my screen as more of a teal color, but in person it is an electric jungle green. Absolutely beautiful. And here it is in 2 coats. This is another one where I felt like the formula still had a lot of squish to it, so longer nails again might need a 3rd coat to reach full opacity depending on your nail length and application. But another really, really fun color there. This is one that I used multiple times the summer that I got it, and I want to say I also used it last summer, so this has been one of my go-to greens since I got it. So that one was Plastic Jungle. Next up is this one called Vintage, and this is another one of the older polishes. This is another one where I think I got it through a D-stash, maybe even the same D-stash as that one. And this is a beautiful bright mint shade. My regulars will know that mint is one of my favorite greens. As you can kind of see, I'm wearing a mint already. And this is a color that I like to wear in spring and summer. This particular tone of it is more of what I would consider my summer shades of mint. I usually try to lean more towards the pastel sides of mint for spring, although of course on screen they're probably going to look identical, but by comparison Vintage is definitely greener and brighter and much more saturated. By comparison, this LA Colors is mint tea and it's much more on the pastel side. So here's Vintage in 2 coats. For this one I thought the formula was really good in 2 coats. I think most nail lengths would be just fine with 2 coats for full opacity. And again, I absolutely love mint shades, so I'm excited to carry on with them in the summer. So that one was Vintage. Next up is one of only 2 polishes that made it to my summer rack from Orly from the new summer collection, and this one is called Close Call. So if you missed that video, I'll try to remember to post a little link up there in the cards. I did a swatch video for the entire collection, and I was a bit mixed on the collection as a whole. I thought the color story was a little unusual, but there were a few colors that I wanted to pull for my summer rack, and this is one of them. This is one of the greens, and this has a pearl finish. Pearl seems to be in this year, and I don't know why. I definitely like it in some colors, but I wouldn't go as far as saying it's a favorite finish of mine. This one I would describe as kind of a green leaning aqua by comparison to vintage, which I was calling a bright mint. You can see it's got a bit of a tonal difference, maybe a pinch more blue to it. That is far less blue in person than I feel like it's coming across on camera. My camera for some reason doesn't seem to like the greens, but this one is a really nice and pretty unique color to my collection. And here it is in 2 coats. There you can see that pearl finish quite nicely. This again is one of those instances where I did think it worked quite nicely. I like this color with that finish. As I mentioned in the video when I did the swatches, I would definitely say be careful with your application. For these, I made sure to do nice even strokes with my brush. That way I didn't get too much in the way of streaking. So there was Close Call. And then the second one from the new Orly collection for summer 2023 is Off the Grid. This is a really nice shade of blue. It almost has a pinch of purple in it, but only the barest pinch. It's a really nice shade, a very vibrant but dark blue. And here it is in 2 coats. Again, look at that color. So vibrant and so nice for summer. This had a really good formula. It was opaque for me in 2 coats. So that one was Off the Grid. Then onto our darkest blue. This one is called Blue Tango. This is actually another one from a fall collection, again from fall 2021, that I decided would work nicely for a summer color. And this one is a darker shade of blue than Off the Grid. There you can see it is a couple shades darker. It's also got a squishier base, and it also definitely does not have even the slightest pinch of purple in it. It's definitely a dark blue. So here it is in 2 coats. This was one that I thought I might need to come back for a 3rd coat. So depending on your nail length, you might need a 3rd coat to reach full opacity or to cover your nail line. But there it is on the nail. Again, a nice dark but pretty vibrant shade, which is again why I decided it might work nicely for a summer color. So that one was Blue Tango. Next up is our one and only Fuchsia, and this one is called String of Hearts, and this is a gorgeous color. It is another one of the darker shades that I did choose for my summer rack. I think it would also have worked quite nicely as a fall polish, but here it is in 2 coats. It does have a pinch of vibrancy to it, which is why I pulled it for my summer rack. It's got a really beautiful tone. So that one was String of Hearts. Now we're moving on into our purples. You guys, I had 4 purples that I wanted to put on my rack just from Orly alone, but I whittled it down to 3. The first one is from the Kelly Marissa collaboration, and this is Solar Flare. And this is a specialty finish. You have a beautiful, vibrant shade of purple with a very strong blue flash. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. I love this kind of finish. Here it is in 2 coats. This is one where I would say some nail lengths might need a 3rd to reach full opacity if you have a very prominent nail line. As you can see there at the base of the nail, you can sort of see a little bit of light. So again, depending on your application and how visible your nail line is, you might need that 3rd coat. Or you could always put this over a blurring base coat or a matching undie, but I'm pretty sure when I wore this, I was okay with 2 coats. And there you can see that beautiful blue flash. So that one was Solar Flare. Next up is another shade of purple, and this one is Synthetic Symphony. This is another pretty famous one from the summer 2021 collection, and another of my favorites from that collection. This is a beautiful, bright purple. There's a richness and almost darkness to it, but it is a bright summer color all at the same time. It's a really gorgeous color. Here it is in 2 coats. Again, just one of my favorite shades from not just that collection, but I think from Orly in general. This one was also good and opaque in 2 coats. Another one where I think most people would be fine with 2 coats for full opacity. Just such a gorgeous color there. So that one was Synthetic Symphony. And then our last purple and our last Orly on my summer rack is this very dark purple called On the Edge. This one I actually don't remember where I got it. It could have been from a mystery box or from a Goodwill bag, but when I was going over the polishes in my totes, this one really caught my eye as a vibrant but incredibly dark purple. And this one surprised me when I swatched it. The first coat actually dried to almost a dark blue. But in 2 coats, it's definitely a vibrant inky purple. There it is in 2 coats. I think you can kind of see that blue that I was talking about there in that little bubble there at the end of the nail. But something about this I just really like for summer. It is one of the darkest colors that I've chosen for my summer rack, but there's a vibrancy to this that I really, really like. So that last one was on the edge. And there we have it. Those are the colors that I've chosen to have on my summer 2023 rack. Let me know down below which ones were your favorites, or if you have any Orlys that you're planning on wearing this summer. Which colors are you drawn to? I'm finding that I'm oddly drawn to pinks this summer, even though you wouldn't know it from this rack here. I have already filmed my OPI rack, and that had quite a few pinks on it. And you should see my other totes of polish that I'm going to have on my rack. There's a lot of pinks in them. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me and looking at beautiful polish. Again, make sure to check out the list down below for all of the other participants and their channels. If you're new, also make sure to hit the little subscribe button down below. That way you don't miss out on any of my new videos, and I will see you in that next one.